Now then, I don't think this has been working very well so far. Tonight's the night that Virgin Media have decided they're going to run me some really super slow internet speed. So apologies. Well, no one's here anyway. There is someone watching now, but I've got really unstable internet, so apologies for some. Might actually sack this off and wait until our internet's back to where it should be, because we've normally got super fast internet here, and there's literally no point in me doing this if it's not going to function. So um, I'm going to give it a few more minutes and just see if I can get it to tell me. Now we've got super fast internet. Now it seems to be working finally. All right, so I'm going to press on and see how we got on. Two people now. Apologies if you've been trying to get on. I've had some serious internet issues tonight. So the idea of these like live streams, and I've never done one before. I've obviously only ever done kind of university lecture things over Zoom, like we all had to do last couple of years. Feels a bit weird, kind of being back online talking to no faces. Dave and Tim, hi, how you doing? Good to see you. Sorry if you've been trying to get on and it's been a bit rubbish. I am going to press on though and talk about the bits and pieces that I wanted to in these videos. The whole idea of doing these live streams was to cut out all of the effort that I had to keep putting into making like the vlog stuff, the weekly training vlogs, which is what the videos, what a YouTube channel was originally set up to do. They take a lot of effort and they don't actually give much return. Because not many people really watch them, which is fine because it's YouTube, isn't it? So, what I was going to do tonight is just three things really. One thing is just talk a little bit about why I've decided to do these live streams, and I've already done that, but I'll talk about that in a bit more detail. Talk about how 2023 has gone so far, January, and then talk about what plans are for going on, because it's going all right. So it seems like a good idea to talk about it. Please put any questions or whatever's in the two of you. But it's good to see you. Tim, how the calf muscles doing? They still things of beauty. So obviously this will be recorded and uploaded somewhere down the line, and people will watch this later. So I might as well go through things I'm going to go through. And eventually, I'd really like to get my head around live streaming. It's something I'd like to try and do a little bit more of. But tonight, it's simple: just laptop, camera, mic on here. Eventually, I might get to the point where I'm doing something a little bit more clever. But tonight, still rebuilding the calf muscles. Tim, they just think they're works of art, mate. They are worth crafting into something of even more spectacular beauty. I said I was going to call the live stream the 0% live stream because I've obviously given up drinking, and I thought I'd have one of these. It's a bit of a dull beer, this one though, isn't it? I was trying to get something a bit more, a little bit more hipster, but this is all I could get hold of tonight. I've got one of these, and I've never seen these before. So I'm going to try Guinness as well, but this one's a bit lame, if I'm honest. Anyway, so why I'm doing these live streams, bit part one, really. The channel originally was set up only for me. It's only ever been for myself. Hello, Dan. What are you doing here? I thought you were supposed to be out on your bike, mate. 0% beers give you a banging headache. It's funny because you give me a banging headache, so there you go. The whole idea of setting up this channel was purely to document trying to get fitter. When I watched that video back a little while ago, the first one I put up, which was rubbish, but it's supposed to be rubbish, isn't it? You didn't go out on your bike, Dan, because it was raining. Amazing. That's hilarious. Get some mud guards, mate, and a rain jacket. You live in the north, don't you, Dan? Aren't you used to it raining? Anyway, but it changed a bit. I've enjoyed making more sort of doing the reviews and sort of doing the sort of adventures and and covering the races and making stuff that's more film like. And when I do that with the stuff that's been about my training, it kind of bombs a bit. And I would like to try and get a little bit back for the channel. I'm really interested in how YouTube works and stuff. So I thought it'd make more sense because it's lighter workload just to do these and talk about it. So I won't have to do this every month in terms of explain why I'm doing it. But the first one I probably should. But it's to still document what I've been doing, but upload and sort of a day and a half of editing. So that's the whole point of doing doing the live stream. So let's crack on. In terms of 2023 so far, it's been all right. It's been pretty good. So I'd set myself 3 challenges, well, 3 habits that I wanted to form, and they're pretty easy ones, I guess. The first one was to stop drinking, which I did. It was pretty easy to do. I just stopped drinking. And maybe I'll talk about that a little bit more, but ultimately, combined with all the other bits and pieces, it's been a really good thing to have done. And I needed to do it anyway. The other thing was to do the couch to 5K, and that's been really nice to get out running. I don't know if anyone's ever done couch to 5K, but I know there are lots of different ones. I didn't know there were different ones, but I've decided to do the NHS one, um, and I thought it was 6 weeks. It's not. It's 9. It's 9. I wondered how they were going to jump so suddenly up to doing a 5K, but it's over 9 weeks, which is probably a bit better. I'm getting over an Achilles injury, um, so I'm actually, I think if I run tomorrow, I'm only 2 runs behind. So when I went to Brecon, a couple of videos I made over in the Brecon Beacons a couple of weeks ago, which was an amazing trip. I didn't do the running because I was staying in the van. I had nowhere to shower. I could have gone to the pool, but that would have involved me swimming. So I thought better of it and just didn't run that week. So I'm a little bit behind. So I'm trying to make it up a little bit along the way. So what's this? Couch 5K in 2013. There you go, Dan. 12 weeks. Yeah, it's brilliant. It is really good, isn't it? I know Katie's doing it as well. Helen's doing it as well. Ace, week 3. Yeah. They're all, tell me if you're doing the NHS one or if you're doing another one. Dan, was yours set up by the running club? If it was over 12 weeks, obviously the whole idea of it is to sort of slowly build, isn't it? And if you're coming back from injury or you've never run before, it's just about increasing that load gently. And with an Achilles problem, when you're my weight at the moment, it's 105 kilos or something. Then you need to sort of watch what's happening to your body in terms of the load on it, and that's why it's perfect. So I think the first run that I did was like 6 90-second runs with 90-second recovery. That is my kind of run session. Yeah, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 9 weeks. You know, it's just that sort of loading. I've been planning a video about kind of the increase of load. On the body and the things that you should increase or shouldn't increase, because I think actually there's a little bit of they talk about dirt, so intensity, repetition, time, and I think in my opinion they went for the, it's not an acronym, is it? Someone tell me what it is. It's got a name, isn't it, when each letter means something, but I think they went with the acronym, or what it should be, over actually doing anything of any use. So I'm making a video about that anyway. NHS one with Joe What she got on my nerves, Joe Wiley did, if I'm honest. I had to change it to the to one of the Olympians. And then she got on my nerves, so I just programmed it into my Garmin now, because a lot of the weeks are the same, aren't they? You do the same run 3 times, which works for me. It's really good. So I've been enjoying running. I've been enjoying getting out and about, and I've been enjoying actually putting some effort in during those intervals. It's been really good because the recovery is really long. So it's nice. Denise Lewis, that's it. Thanks, Katie. That was the one. One thing I found about the NHS app, didn't matter who the coach was, but it probably comes down to, well, it does come down to personal preference. What I didn't like was the ambiguity about when you're supposed to start the rep. It's kind of like, right, get ready to do the next rep, and then it was like, okay, and now you're sort of, well done, you're into it. It's like you didn't tell me to start, or you didn't give me any kind of countdown into it. It's kind of pretty vague, and I need someone to go, right, give me a countdown from 5, and maybe that's my upbringing, but I kind of did need that. Yeah, it's horses for courses, isn't it? And I just think that, genuinely think that it's a brilliant thing. So I've been really enjoying doing that, and getting out and running, and I will catch up, and then obviously eventually I'll be able to go out and do a 5K, which would be great fun. So that's going all right. I'm enjoying that. The drinking, we'll talk about that. It's been simple. It's been really simple, because all I do is just stop drinking, and as much as I can drink really well, I can also stop drinking really well. As you probably gathered if you watch the channel, I'm an all or nothing type of person. But as much as I don't suffer with hangovers, I do feel a ton better, because I'm not sticking some pretty grim chemicals really in your body that's really toxic. I should have brought the book down with me. I was too panicking about the internet not working to get the book, but I've been reading this book that a friend put me onto called Drink, oddly enough, by a guy called Professor David Nutt. If you're interested in alcohol at all, you need to read it. Maybe I'll talk about it in the next video. But yeah, it's really good. And yeah, so the drinking's been fine. I don't say about that other than the fact that I've just stopped drinking. It's that simple. And then the last thing has been the intermittent fasting, which again has been pretty straightforward. And I've done it before and I find it really easy. And I don't know if anybody else do that. Her hair used to be super cool. So that's it. As long as it was cool once. I don't know what is going on with this. Me and Bex talked about it. We had a conversation about what's going on with this earlier. And she just said, "What's going on with your hair?" And I said, I genuinely haven't got a clue. But I knew I wanted to grow it because I'm 46 years old and I can, and some people my age don't get the choice, right? So I get the choice. So I don't know. I need to do something with it because at the minute it's all a little bit mental. But anyway, the hair isn't on my list of things to talk about. Actually, funnily enough, I don't know what I should do with my hair. I always think about when it comes to like what you think you look like. I always think about that story of Ricky Gervais talking about David Brent and how the look of David Brent came about because he wanted him to think that he looked like Robert De Niro in Heat, you know, with the goatee. And of course he doesn't, but that's always the thing in your head. You've got this look of what you look like. I don't know what I think I look like. Just look like someone that hasn't had their haircut for a year. Anyway, I'm massively digressing, and I've only got 12 minutes left because I want to be done by 7:30 because I'm having pasta bake. So, what else have we done so far? So, we've done the drinking, done the intermittent fasting thing. Intermittent fasting is definitely it's easy to do. So, when I've just started commuting, that was something else I wanted to talk about. That's just started beginning of February. Our semester's just started, so it gives me the opportunity to start riding again. So this week I've done like 100 miles on the bike. I only lost 2.5 k or something in kilos in January, which is that's good, but I hadn't been doing lots of consistent exercise in January, which is kind of other than the running and a bit of bike riding and some off-roading stuff. But they've got that consistent block of 100 miles of commuting a week, and I'm pretty sure that that will help cutting out the drinking and then doing all of that fasted. So I'm trying to ride in, you know, low zone 2 stuff. But there you go. That's the plan. So I've enjoyed this week's commuting. What I have not, in fact, I rephrase that. I've enjoyed the commute on the way back has been like headwind hell. And then I get home and it's like there isn't any wind, but there was like someone hand on my chest pushing me back. I think I commuted at like 19 kilometers an hour average yesterday or something, and it felt like I was going uphill the whole way. So it's one of the downsides of living on the coast because the sea just blows straight to Bristol. So anyway, it'll get easier. It's January, it gets February, it gets lighter, it gets warmer, and I'll get lighter as well. Okay, where are we at? So Sonder ride. That was the kind of biggie of January, other than going to the Brecon Beacons, which was great. I kind of documented the Brecon Beacons thing, so I don't really need to talk about that other than to say it was a pretty special time over there. But Sonder ride was great. So it was great mainly because I got to see Dave, who's in the chat, which is great, and Katie, who's in the chat, and Chrissy, and a few other people from the club. I haven't seen anyone for a while. And it was really good to see everyone. And Dave very kindly rode with me for the whole thing. He's a brilliant off-road rider. Could have easily left me for dust, mud, and didn't. Just sat with me. And Dave's done quite a few rides with me over the since 2020. He came out on the very first sort of grand tour idea that I did that was improvised on the fly, and then he came out and did some proper stages. 21, and then he's been out on the gravel rides with me. So I think Dave's still in the chat, but thanks, mate. I genuinely appreciated that, and your clarity of mind when you were sort of subtly suggesting that maybe we decide whether to do the short or the long one. I listened to you, mate. So we did the short one, which is great, and the ride out towards the Mendips was ace. Exhausting, like the upper body stuff with off-road riding. I just never knew. I never knew that was such a big part of it. Was your core. And so, which is great, you know, I'm loving it. Nice one, Dave. Thanks, mate. No, it was great. It was brilliant. On the way out, it was fab. And then we turned at Rington, decided to do the short course. I didn't really get much footage. That's the thing. Mainly because you can't take your hands off the handlebars. Because if you take your hands off the handlebars, well, you hit the ground. That's my sort of take on it. So it's really hard to take a camera out of your handlebar bag or to hit record or whatever, just because like it's nuts. There was some of the bits of it were just insane, and people were riding them on gravel bikes, and I was pretty blown away by some people's ability levels. But anyway, it was great on the way out to Rington, and then on the way back from Rington, less so, I'd say. There was an awful lot of road, which I was grateful for physiologically until we got to some of the off-road bits. And I guess I don't know how long we were riding for, Dave, on the road, sort of heading back towards the airport, but we came up to an off-road section, and I was actually a little bit miffed that I had to get back into the mindset of trying to ride off road, because it is different. It's so riding on the road is just, it's lovely and it's bliss, and then riding off road is lovely and it's bliss, but they're totally different ends of the spectrum psychologically. And yeah, I was tired and I was cold and I was wet and I was hungry, and I wasn't miserable, but all those things were in place, and all I wanted was some soup. And we got back to Outkit in Bristol, and they had some soup, and it was the best soup I've ever eaten. Drunk? It's a drink, isn't it? Soup is a drink, right? Yeah. So, what was that like? Yeah, it was. That is it. Dave said that. He's just put out in the chat. It's a proper good analogy of a mixtape where you've crafted, you know, an hour and 30 minutes or an hour and 45 of a TDK 60, you know, or a 120, and then the last bit you can't be bothered, so you just like put back to back. I don't know, it was Frank Zappa on it or something. Yeah, of gravel rides where sort of the back end of it was a little bit of an afterthought, which is a bit of a shame in my opinion. But I really enjoyed it. I've never done anything like that before, so I'm looking for another one in March. I think that's the plan. Is I want to try and do another one in March, another off-road ride before Gritfest in June. Is it? I think. Anyway, that's the plan. So, but I'm also looking forward to getting back and doing some road riding. Because it's sort of heading towards that time now, isn't it? But it was great fun. So cheers for that, Dave. It was ace. And yeah, I'm going to Forrester Dean at the end of this month. So every month I'm going to try and do an overnighter to get out of the house, because Brecon had such an impact on me of just getting away. I'm going to do an overnighter away from home in the van initially until it gets a bit warmer, and then I'll camp, because I've got all the kit that I need now. Broccoli reps. What off-road broccoli reps, Katie? I hate broccoli and Belmont and all of them now in so many more ways that you've now shown me off-road ways of going up and down it. There's like 5 ways to hate every hill now, whereas before there was only one. But there you go, broccoli reps. I like broccoli actually; it's all right. Burrington reps are my favourite. They're my best. That's what I used to do when I was training for the Grand Tour. I'd go and ride out to Burrington and go and do like 8 or 10 reps. That's great. Yeah. Okay. Maybe not tomorrow. I've got an FTP test to do tomorrow. Zach's going to help me out with the lactate test, because you normally do them when you're gunning for it, don't you? You're like, yeah, I'm going to smash the watts and my lactate levels will be really high. And I thought, actually, if I'm honest with you, they're most useful when you're in a massive, horrific state. And then you can you've got a baseline to work off of. So yeah, FTP, well, ramp test tomorrow, lactate test, really. It's not really a ramp test. Video on that, I think. Anyway, so yeah, Forrester Dean, end of February. So I'll probably go up there Friday morning or late Thursday night, ride, make a bit of a film, stay overnight Saturday night, ride early Saturday morning, come back. So yeah, that's the plan for Forrester Dean. So and then I need to find another place to go and explore. And I know Dave's been mentioning about going to New Forest, but obviously there's Brecon Beacons, but nearer this side, so there's loads. Hello, Ian. You're right. I was just talking about Forrester Dean, mate. Ian, yeah, very luckily lives like where, you know, the Forrester Dean is like a figure 8, right? He lives like in the belt of the 8. It's like a belt, right? So yeah, New Forest, grippy gravel, apparently. All these things I never knew about. So I will be getting back to some. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. terms of long-term plans, I want to do this 400K on the is it 21st of June, this the summer, what they call it? Summer solstice, the longest day. I think that's 21st of June, right? Um, I wanna ride 400K. Now, this is the thing, right? This is where I'm at. I haven't done any planning, but it's only a one-day ride, isn't it? So, um, and what I'd really like to do is do coast to coast. So my brother lives in Essex, well, Gravesend, Kent, really. Um, and I kind of like to ride from where he lives over to where we live. So literally go from east to west. But I need to look at the wind. I need to have a look at the prevailing winds, because obviously in this direction it comes from the west. So, but I don't know what happens in the middle and over to the east. So, um, I know Katie sent me this ride that they do on that same day. That's about 320K, uh, which is perfect. I can adapt that, and it's not very much climbing. So anyway, that's the long term plan on the road bike today. But look, I said it. I said I'd wrap it up for 7:30, even though I started a bit late because of the old internet problems. But I'm doing all right. Yeah, that's the thing. That I think that's the kind of overriding thing of where we're at with January. I'm really enjoying where I'm at the minute. I feel brighter. I feel snappier. I feel like I'm also able to sort of manage the workload at work a bit more and kind of go, yeah, you know what? I can't do that today, and stuff like that. And I think that's a really important turning point, isn't it? I got properly burnt out at the end of last year. Um, really badly burnt out, and it sort of ruined Christmas a little bit because I was poorly over Christmas, and it's not supposed to be like that, is it? You're supposed to work and then enjoy the other time, and I didn't. So I'm feeling pretty up together, considering it's only been a month really. So that's where we're at the minute. So um, thanks for watching. I appreciate it's Friday night. What's that? I think you're the only positive person coming out of January. Really? So yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because I was at work a couple of weeks ago and somebody was talking about Blue Monday, which obviously I work at music university, so everyone's playing New Order, absolute belter of a tune off of Introspective, and I was just like, I'm not feeling it. I don't enjoy the grey weather. I don't enjoy the the dark, well, afternoons. I don't like them at all. Um, But, I think the gravel bikes helped me loads, if I'm really honest. Because I've been able to I think if I'd been reliant on Zwift or the Turbo or something, I just don't like it. I don't enjoy it. I don't get what I wanna get out of riding the bike. Oh, no. Really, Dan? Yeah, okay. I might have to rethink Gritfest if Dan's going. Um, oh god, that's awful. Really? I was really looking forward to that. Maybe I'm not so positive coming out of January now. I'm not so positive going into January now. I've got a van, Dan. There's only room for one. Only one Dan in my van, man. But yeah, I'm sorry if people aren't feeling so great coming out of January. I know it's a tough month. Um, but yeah, it's I'm feeling okay, not to sort of put salt in the wound, but yeah, it's getting out and riding that makes all the difference. So yeah, that's helped me a lot. And I think as I've said before on other videos, I haven't made these changes for surface reasons this time. The sort of changes are not temporary to lose weight to do an event, or to look better, or to for any of those surface reasons. And me and Dave were sort of chuckling over this. We've been reading this book called The Midlife Cyclist by Phil Cavell, and in it there's this quote about somebody burning the candle at both ends and then eating the middle bit, which is pretty much what I've been doing for the last 30 years, really. And I just don't think my body can take it anymore. So it's kind of like, I don't really have an option on this. But that's where we're at. So thank you. Thank you for hanging out with me for half an hour and putting some cool stuff in the chat. It's been really appreciated that 8 of you have bothered. I appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up. It will help. But it just means that I don't have to do this thing and try and figure out how to kind of make footage to go along with this, and kind of document it, because it was always about that, and sort of just documenting where I'm at and kind of being able to look back on it in the future, I guess, and just remind myself where I'm at. And I have been able to do that over the last 4 years, which has been great. So thank you very much. I'm gonna end the stream now because it's gone 7:30 and you lot need to go and eat your tea. I need to go and cook a pasta bake, and I need to try this Guinness Zero. I think it probably needs to go in the fridge, but take it easy. Have a really cool weekend. I'll see some of you very soon, and the rest of you I'll see at some point at Gritfest, judging by what Dan's saying. Nice one, gang. Thanks ever so much for all your time. Have a nice easy.